Hi, my name is Amanda Panacea, and you're listening to the Healer Revolution podcast. This is a community for self-healers, biohackers, practitioners, and any other helping professionals. You're in the right place if you're seeking conversations about how pain becomes passion, the connection between physical, energetic, mental, and our spiritual self, finding your body's ancient wisdom, the latest biohacking technologies, clinical research, and if you just want to nerd out about complex biochemistry and quantum physics. But this is also for entrepreneurs who seek infinite abundance and a supportive community. So pour a cup of King coffee or Sisters tea and let's join the revolution. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Healer Revolution. It is so exciting today to be able to introduce one of my friends, Karli. She is a functional nutritionist that specializes in quantum wellness. She works within the human field to dissipate and transmute low vibrations to higher frequencies of light to release physical ailments. She thrives in facilitating others into their highest emission of being through divine light and love. Karli is very passionate about raising the collective vibration each and every day through daily manifestations, intentions, and meditations. Can you feel this vibe? Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in today. My name is Amanda Panacea, and today I have one of my friends. Her name is Karli, and she goes by Instagram of Karli Revibe. I'll link her handles as well as her website in the notes. But I am super excited to have you on today, Karli. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me. I think it was pretty expansive how this energy even evolved for both of us. I don't know if you want to tell that story or want me to.
Oh, no, you, by all means, today is your day. So let everyone know how we met.
Okay. I journal every single morning. I really just connect with myself, with divine, with the energy. And I just kept hearing this name, Amanda. Like divine kept bringing up Amanda. And I'm like, okay. So I wrote down Amanda's name. And they just said expansive. And they said, I need to intend to be offered the opportunity of a podcast. And I put, thank you. Like it was already done. I literally just have it here in front of me on my notes. And this was on January 17th. And I think on January 18th or 19th, that's when Amanda asked me to do this podcast. And I literally, my jaw dropped and I was like, holy shit, the universe is listening to me. And it was just like an aha moment. So then I'm just like, yeah, of course I want to be on here with you and be in this space. And, it's just such an incredible opportunity. So thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. You're welcome. And that really just goes to show how talented and intuitive and tuned in you are. I feel like you are one of the most talented people in that aspect. I mean, I met a lot of people who do energy work and energy testing and who are very brilliant and intuitive, but I feel like you really take it to another level. We did do a session yesterday. But first, I want to get to know you a little bit better. I really don't know like your story or how you became so talented and so intuitive and how you have so many incredible gifts, because I'm pretty sure you probably had to go through a hardship in order to relearn, I guess, to tap into that.
Yeah, I did. Wow. Where do I even start, Amanda? Really, ever since I was 5, I had learned that I had asthma, and I would always grew up with various illnesses and things coming in my field of influence and just feeling like I was never healthy. I just lived on inhalers and steroids and topical creams, and I just had like eczema, and I couldn't be anywhere around cats, and it just felt very debilitating. And in 2019, I decided to start going into the NTA program, so Nutritional Therapy Association, and got my certificate to be a functional nutritionist so that I could learn more about my body, how to heal my body, because in my soul level, I always knew that I could heal myself. I always knew that it wasn't through the doctors that I was finding the answers. I always knew that it was deeper integration in my soul that I really needed to go within. And once I started this journey, I quickly picked up the need and desire through a friend to do MFT, which was energetic testing through the body, fighting parasites, mold, metals, all these, deficiencies, and how we can support our body through nutritional supplements. And so I went through MFT. And as I started doing MFT, I started getting all these intuitive downloads. I would be energy testing for supplements for my client. All of a sudden, these little, beautiful angels or people's past loved ones would come through the session. And it's like, I could not finish muscle testing their protocol before I had to relay what their, loved one that passed 2 years ago had to say, or how they're supposed to heal from the quantum side. I just was having more alignment happening through divine on that side that it's like, whoa, but it came through and expanded when I started doing muscle testing. And that's how I so quickly got into soul work and going in the depths of, really healing myself and finding that a lot of it, I did heal a ton through supplements and protocols and detoxes and things like that. But I really honestly found through the soul work, through all the emotional work, through the releasing and really integrating and coming to everything I am, which was releasing all my illness. Within a year of doing this work, I released off of all of my medications, like my prescription drugs, all the steroids, and releasing all those vibrancies that were deterring me for so long. But I felt that I had to keep on them to stay alive. And I just chose that I was going to show my body something different, that I was going to live a whole new life than anything I've ever seen. And I just always knew that I was worthy of stepping up into that and finding that health within myself. So now, from 2019 now to 2022, just feeling so much more healthy, so much more vibrant. I'm off of all of my asthma medications for the last year and a half or 2 years, around that. And I feel great. I don't have asthma anymore. I don't have issues like that. And my body is doing great and working for me, and, little things here and there. And I just come up with that as an opportunity to keep working. And yeah, it's kind of a gist of my story.
Yeah. Wow. That's absolutely incredible. You definitely don't hear a story like that every day, that you reversed illnesses that were probably 25, almost 30 years.
Yeah. My entire life.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I really resonate with having those same subconscious thoughts, because I also grew up with asthma. I was the kid that was allergic to everything. Yep. And I feel like when I went through my big health crisis awakening, mold illness and mast cell, that part of me kind of made that happen. Maybe if I didn't know what those things were first, or maybe if I didn't already think that I was really susceptible to being allergic to everything, then maybe if that belief wasn't so ingrained, that it probably wouldn't have happened. So
absolutely. So seeing that this, health crisis really did bring you to this pure alignment. And I know that you're so soul intuitive, and I'm still learning that about you. And I know how much expansion, and I think as we saw yesterday, of how much Amanda's very gifted on that energy level as well. And it's really, really cool to see from my perspective in her, and seeing how much you've healed. And, we've kind of went through a lot of those skin issues and asthma and all those things. And we know that goes back to childhood trauma, a lot of things that came up for us, and how cool that we both get to expand on that. So I feel thankful that we get to share that depth and come out on the other side.
Yeah, for sure. I'm so thankful to have met you as well. So one of the questions that I really have is, what does quote unquote emotional work look like? I feel like so many people are like, you got to do the work, you got to do the work. And most people think of a therapist or maybe even psychiatry, unfortunately, when there's really a million other things that you can do that are probably much more effective, which sounds like you did a lot of those. So what does that look like?
So I would say if anybody's just wanting to start out, you just want to start doing emotional work in your home. I mean, the best place to start in my personal perspective is the Emotion Code by Dr. Bradley Nelson. Such a great place to start. You can read it. I mean, honestly, I was already muscle testing myself and figuring out my emotions like by page like 30 or 40.
Wow.
So that was really expansive for me when I first started, and I didn't really know how to like go within the body and the soul and things like that. So I would say as a starter perspective, that's wonderful. But I think that it's really great to have someone that can help you expand as well. Like, you can move a lot of mountains by yourself and really just delving in your body. But if you invest in yourself and hire someone to also facilitate you through that depth, whether it be MBSR, so mind, body, I think it's mind, body, spirit release, or soul, spirit, yes.
Spirit. Mm-hmm.
And, I know a lot of people do well with that, or even just honestly coming back to the very key things and just journaling. How do I feel today? What is coming up for me? Am I angry? What do I feel? Like what energy is coming up on your source? And really just sitting with that energy and holding that energy. I mean, does it feel like anger? Does it feel like frustration? Because the thing is it's never what's really on the surface that's the issue. It's always something triggering something from the past, whether it's something from a past life, whether it's something generational, whether it's something, that happened in the past in your life. Something is always going to an emotional, deeper depth. So if you can just journal through it, if you can hold that energy, feel what that vibrancy feels like in the palm of your hands, that's so expansive. And you can just do that. You can feel where the energy sits in your body. If you feel mental confusion, tap on your head. If you feel heaviness on your heart, tap on your heart. And just like listen to your body. I know that sounds like just a silly thing to say, but just listen to what your body is saying. Is it saying I'm angry? Is it saying I'm happy? Is it saying I'm frustrated? And really listening to those, because how we get to the point where we have to do emotional work is because it's been suppressed for so long, whether, emotionally from you being a child or being in a relationship and holding in those feelings and not expressing yourself and your self-worth, a traumatic accident that happened. And so often we just try to go forward with the life and we don't even acknowledge our feelings. And that's where we get all this suppressed anger, suppressed sadness, suppressed feelings that never actually release or navigate out of the body. And this is what is creating our illnesses. So this is why this all comes back to where I started and why I love to expand on this, because every energetic value, illness or something that comes up physically always has an emotional standpoint to it. I don't think out of almost 250 clients that I've ever seen that a physical illness doesn't come back to an emotion. So I think that's so key.
Yeah, I agree. And as we kind of went through yesterday, something that I had to really learn how to do, and I'm still learning how to do it, is actually listen to my body. I became a therapist over a decade ago, and that's therapy world is still very like logic based and talk based, which that's not where your emotions are. That's not where the nervous system stress is. Nope. And no. So luckily there is some better like mind body movements out there now. So therapists can get certifications in like somatic experiencing and EFT tapping are big. So those are at least trying to bridge the gap. So hopefully in the future, we'll move from cognitive behavioral therapy and person-centered approach, which I think are really helpful. But like you said, the work is trapped on an energetic level or in like the part of the brain called the limbic system, which can be very primal. And it's not like, you can't talk your way out of it. You can't say, calm down, and it works. We all know that doesn't work. If you've ever had a crazy girlfriend and you're the boyfriend, or the girlfriend, if you say calm down, that makes it worse. So yeah. If you want to just talk a little bit about like what your session looks like now and maybe the transition that you went through from when I saw you 2 years ago and you were just doing more like muscle testing.
Yeah. Wow. What has changed in 2 years? It was funny because Amanda and I had a session, like she said, 2 years ago. And when I saw her yesterday in our session, I was like, Amanda, I don't even know where to start because I would like you to know that this is 1,000% different than when we started. So when I saw Amanda, we were doing a lot of like muscle testing and, finding energetically what was like right for, I think, like food and what her body was saying about macros. And, I still have a place in my heart that was so dear at that time for doing that work. But then I'm like, I had this huge awakening that I don't want to chase the problem. I don't want to chase the mold. I don't want to chase the Lyme. I don't want to, have this scarcity mindset. It's like, I want to go to the deepest freaking root and pull that thing out and release that vibrancy. Because here's the thing is, a lot of times it does not come from your lifetime. It can come generationally. It can be stuck in your DNA. It can be stuck in your cells. It can generally be stuck in your lymph from, past times ago. And when we heal that deepest root, that releases that vibrancy. And that releases the illness or the hurt energy behind it, so that your vibrancy can shine again. And so that's kind of where I had started was, that's what kind of shifted as I started in this, okay, this is what I'm doing with muscle testing, and this is working, and working with nutrition. And then it was like, I still get nutrition that comes in for clients. Like divine guidance will show me what they might need on a nutritional level, or they need these kinds of foods or things like that. So I still leave that, that door open. And I do have a background in that. And that is my, knowledge from the physical realm of getting my functional nutrition. But I like to go to the soul level and go so much deeper of why is this occurring? There is a vibrancy that holds mold. There is a vibrancy that holds Lyme within the body. There is a vibrancy that holds these really deep energetic wavelengths that are making people ill. And those are the depths that I want to go on. I want to go on the deepest route, because nobody should suffer longer than just this healing process. And it doesn't have to be forever, and it doesn't have to be long if people choose. So that's kind of where I found this was from the beginning, really just starting with what I knew and growing that. So when I first started my practice, I did not read any books. I did not read listen to any podcasts. I didn't get any external knowledge to grow my practice. I listened to only divine to create everything that I've created so far. It was only until recently, the last 2 months, that I've been reading this book, and, growing my practice in different ways. But I have always formed it because I said, divine God energy, show me the way of how I can serve out of my soul's alignment and my true purpose, so that I can help heal the world. Because I'm not here to just do a little bit here or a little bit there. I want to try to change the vibration with divine, and I want to bring that, and I intend to do that in this lifetime. And I know I am, and I know that it's just going to keep, chain reaction with how my clients have just like illuminated is just incredible. So that is my mission in life, and my mission here being a practitioner. And I even say that I'm not a healer, because everything comes through me, but I don't actually do the healing. I facilitate all the healing from divine to come through you, on the genetic, on the DNA, through the cells, through the organs, through the tissues, and replenishing with divine light through their guidance and through what they desire to gift the body. So was that even a question, or is that what you asked me?
Yeah, no, that was great. I just asked what it kind of looks like in like a session with you. Like, how does it work?
Yeah.
How do you know what to do?
Yeah. So I kind of have a couple of ways that you can work with me. I just started a Revive Collective in February. So that is a beautiful place for souls to meet on a monthly basis. And all of the energetics every month change for the Revive Collective. This month we have 3 Zooms. So one a week, but we have 1 off week for integration. And this month, the month of February, we're going through the eccentrics. And so we're activating the light structure of the body, releasing toxins and all of these energies from the cells, from the bones, the tissues, the joints, going really, really deep in depth in the organs, and releasing and recalibrating the systems on an energetic level through divine energy. So, and my clients in this energetic alignment have just shifted, and they work with nutritional practitioners, and they're like, I don't really need any supplements, or my body's healed this, or, because they've energetically done the work. And then now I've seen every time that people rarely even need supplements because their body is being fulfilled and it can naturally release the toxins or naturally release parasites because they're in energetic alignment with where they're at. So this is what my Revive Collective looks like. And then March will be something different. I'm going to launch that soon. And that container alignment is $79 a month. It forms a group chat that we always have, great stability and unity and community. And then with whatever Zooms or modules come out that month. So it's always changing every month to what I'm teaching, what we're evolving and what we're working on that month. So that's one way to work with me. And then the other way, and what this looks like from a one-on-one perspective, I only take one-on-ones every so often, like new clients, because I do have a very full practice. But what this energetic looks like is I have an energy empowerment session. It's a 1-hour session. We go super in depth. This is where we're going to the root of the illnesses, the root of the energy. Why have they felt this for so long, but can't seem to get rid of it? And they've done all the things, they've done all the detox, and they still can't get it. I get clients, I get some of the higher cases from doctors and practitioners that they can't really figure out what's going on with their client. And so we go deeper on the soul level. So I only take energetic clients every so often, like new clients, but it is a 1-hour session where we go in deeper through the soul. We figure out where the root of this energy started, and then we start delving into how to release it and going up to the creator's light and releasing it to love so that it can be transmuted and healed. So it's kind of a perspective. So I always have that Revive Collective arms wide open for people to come in and sit here in this energy, learn, adapt, grow, heal, and evolve. And then I also have the one-on-one work. Sometimes I do launch one-off group sessions, which are so impactful. And you can just, keep in touch on Instagram if you want to follow those offerings to see more.
Yeah, that group sounds really amazing. I want to join it.
It's been such a gift. I, like I said, just launched it, but it's been in the creating since last summer. And I'm just like, I have so much energy for it. It's just so rich and abundant. And yeah, my clients have just soared, even though they haven't worked with me one-on-one, but they, we just go through such an expansion with whatever divine puts in front of us. And it's just in pure alignment.
Have you had to give up coffee for health reasons? Maybe because of the stress it was putting on your adrenals, maybe because it was messing with your sleep, maybe because you felt terrible after drinking it, or maybe because you were told coffee had mold on the beans and you needed to stay away from mold. Well, what if I told you there's an organic, mycotoxin-free, quality coffee that contains reishi spores or Ganoderma lucidum? Ganoderma lucidum helps to modulate your immune system, adapt to stress, balance hormones, and doesn't give you the jitters or shakes like regular coffee used to. Sounds too good to be true, right? It's called King Coffee by the company Organo. And King Coffee came into my life when I was struggling with chronic hives, full body eczema, and mast cell activation syndrome. I hadn't drank coffee in years because it made me feel anxious, shaky, and clammy. So I had no expectations that drinking King Coffee would be any different. However, I decided to give it a try after seeing lots of amazing practitioners talk about the benefits of reishi online. I tried a 7-day sample and the chronic hives were gone by day 5. I was in shock. After that, I dove into the research on reishi and found that there are over 3,000 peer-reviewed PubMed clinical trials using reishi Ganoderma as an intervention. The company Organo also has a patent protected on their harvesting process. They double crack open the spore shells, which makes them up to 80% more potent than the body of the reishi, which is usually used in other reishi products. This also makes the spores 90% more bioavailable for your body to use. If you would like to try King Coffee, visit thehealerrevolution.myorganogold.com, or for a 7-day trial, you can check out my link tree on my Instagram at Amanda Panacea. Yeah, I recently listened to the author of a book called The Power of Eight, which goes into how powerful it is to set intentions as a small group and how just those little intentions that everybody sets for one person in the group, maybe like once a month, can literally heal health conditions. They did a lot of studies on like the power of prayer and healing like very violent areas, and the crime rate actually went down and the violent rate went down in some of those areas. So I feel like the small group setting is just as powerful or even more powerful in a lot of times.
Yeah, I see that a lot through my clients. And I have some clients that we do work one-on-one every once in a while, but they were like, honestly, Karli, the group sessions and the energy that goes through is so expansive. Like my hands, like even just talking about it are vibrating and I have goosebumps. Like I had a session yesterday with 5 key women and it's like, oh my gosh, everybody was just like in tears, just like such gratitude, just touching one another's soul. And it was just so beautiful. And I love that you brought up that book. I would like to read about that. And I'm actually reading about the same thing, the power of, and it's 8 people. I'm like, that's crazy you say this, but we can heal so beautifully in a group. My first February alignment with the Revived Collective, we have 14 in there. That was my first launch, and still holding a beautiful container for more in, the month of March and beyond. So yeah, like you said, so powerful to do the group. And it's, I think at first, sometimes we can think like, ooh, a group, am I either going to, get enough out of it, or will I be nervous to be in a group? And knowing that you can be in a group and you can actually then turn off your Zoom the whole time. If for some reason you don't feel like you're comfortable to be like interactive about it, it's okay. So just coming at any capacity that you desire and knowing that there is no judgment. I have a very, very pure judgment-free zone in my practice. And if there is any judgment, I just ask that you release yourself until you're ready to come back with your full, authentic truth. And, all judgment is released. As all we always have the ego, but if you feel that, we just only have pure alignments of, no judgment, everybody's growing, everybody's on their own journey, and it's just a really pure space.
Yeah. So you just mentioned ego, which I have a question about this. So if you're working with someone and they're wanting to change, they're really, really into it, they are begging, they're ready, but let's say that they are just really blocked, really shut off, and not giving you answers, not able to connect with their body, or, whatever the block is, what would you suggest that person do, or what would you do for that person?
Ooh, so I've had this a couple times, and this does not happen to me anymore because I have energetically found the right space to see, am I the right fit for someone? Are they the right fit for me? Are we supposed to be working together right now? So I always trust the ego. And I'm going to say that like 5 more times. I always trust the ego. The ego is only trying to keep you safe. The ego is only ever hurt trauma. People always think the ego is like, oh yeah, I'm bad, I'm buff, I'm, all these things. And it's not really that. It's just your protective mechanism. It's trying to keep you safe. So if you've been through a trauma, if you've been through a hurt, anything like that, your ego is coming up and saying, oh, that's not safe. Oh, don't speak out, and like keeping us small, but trying to keep us safe. So where that brings me is if someone is very blocked, if someone is having a lot of energetic, like, nope, don't go into my energy, this isn't safe, whatever that looks like, I always just talk to their soul self and I say, are you ready for this alignment yet? And if it's a no, then I will test them for where do they need to start. Sometimes they do need talk therapy first. Sometimes they need MBSR first. Sometimes they need emotion code first, and which I do that sometimes in my session if it's desired. But I don't care if someone is, going to be my client or not. I will never carry forward with a session if it's not in their highest best. So if their ego is saying, no, I'm not ready for this, then I will release them until they're ready to come back. So I'll just ask their soul, if they, what do they need to do? So sometimes they'll say they need to do this for 8 weeks, this for 2 weeks, this for this many time, and then they can come see you. So I just energetically talk to their soul with their permission and give them the blueprint of pretty much how their soul desires to heal. So, and that's pretty much what I do in my initial revive, which is if I do have space to take on a new client, we always start with a session that's determining from their soul what's in highest alignment. So I will never proceed with a client if it's not in their highest best alignment or it's not in my highest best alignment, because I never, ever want to set someone back on their journey. So if the ego does come in, sometimes, a lot of times I always just energetically set the ego next to our feet. So it's seen, it's heard, it's held. But if it's so strong that it will not let us go forward with the session, then it's just because that client needs to work on something before we even go into the soul work. Often it's really that they need to be heard, and they actually do need that sense of kind of like counseling or even talking through with a friend, or they need, something other than my modality. So I will just send them towards the right place. And then when they're ready, they can energetically come back and we can reassess how, their ego, but there's just a little bit of block. We can always get through that. Sometimes it does try to skew my reading if they have a very strong ego. So I'll just say like, hey, ego, what do you need to be seen for today? Like, I just always treat the ego as my friend, as, it's really like people want to push away the ego, but I always try to make that ego feel like it has a beautiful, sacred place to be held and to be seen and to be loved, so that it does not need to push back at you, because the ego can be your worst enemy, but it does not have to be. A lot of people, if you feel like you can't trust yourself or you feel like you can't trust your muscle testing, it's because you're pushing your ego away and letting it, because it can be scary when the ego comes up. Sometimes it can feel like a dark energy. Sometimes it can be like, you're not good enough, or you're fat, or you are rude, or it can say the most, deterring thoughts or feelings or emotions. But if we just say, what do you need to be seen for today? Then it's not as scary, and it can't come at us the same. So how can we pull that ego in and love it just a little bit deeper so that it can help us expand? Because the ego is only here to help us. It gets caught in our limbic system. It gets caught in our nervous system. As you know, Amanda, you're so well adversed in this, so you know how that works. But when we can just love that root and that energy of the ego, then we can really transform it and blossom it into everything it is.
Yeah, I love your perspective. So my next question is with your intuition and how you perceive or gather the information for everybody or for yourself. So you mentioned you get messages from divine. What on earth does that look like, sound like? How do you know? How do you know?
I love it. It's like we bring up this topic and I just get these like really amazing goosebumps. They're like, oh, divine. Okay. Okay. So it's always different, but every time I start connecting with divine, I always set an intention, as you probably saw yesterday in our session. I always set a pure intention for why I'm here with divine, for why I am receiving this information. I always set the intention that it's only out of pure divine love, light, and truth. So, a lot of people can say like, how do you know it's not a bad energy? Or how do you know it's not this? And it's like, I never put good and bad on anything, because I want to stay neutral. I want to, because our bad, quote, bad or dark energy or hurt energy or ego energy is going to help us grow. So do I say it's bad? No. Do I say this is good? No, I hear it. I just hear it. So when I tune in and I find that energy, I do a couple things. I turn up my heart volume. So that's where I'm coming from compassion, not in my head, but in my heart. So I'm listening through my soul. Sometimes I get a download of images, pictures, feelings, thoughts. I hear. So it always changes. So everybody has different energetics of connecting with divine. Some people get energetics of just feeling. Sometimes they get an energetic of knowing, or a download vision, or something that comes in that it's just like you can't even see past because it's so illuminating. But I will say that for everyone it's different. So never place a judgment on, well, how can they see this and I can't see that? That's maybe just more attunement with your third eye that's desired. But I always get different different downloads. And I think that that's always for me, for my highest purpose, because they want me to use all of my senses. They want you, I mean, sometimes I smell things, sometimes I hear things, sometimes I get downloads of things, sometimes it's pictures, sometimes it's a painting. It's always different energies and different messages that come through. And I believe that's because of, what guidance you're connecting with. So sometimes in different dimensions, we connect with different energies. So the fifth dimension, you're going to find more of like the angels, the guides, past loved ones. Sometimes past loved ones can be in the fourth dimension because they're not quite transcended upwards yet. And then I always find the higher soul self. So like my soul is always in the sixth dimension. So that's where I can connect to the soul level. And then the seventh dimension is the divine creator, which is to me, whatever you would like to call it, source, God, Jesus, creator, whatever is, most attuned to you. But this is where I kind of choose energetically, okay, what kind of guidance, what kind of energy do I need to tune in today? And that's where I'll just ask my client's soul self, what wavelength of energy do I need to be on to get your highest alignment? So then I'll just take my client to that place or myself to that place and listen, feel, hear. I just don't put any judgment on what comes through, so it can come through exactly how divine intends. Whenever we try to hold whenever we try to put a judgment on it, I guess I would say, like, okay, I want to go to the fifth dimension and I want to hear the angels speak to me. It's like, but when I just leave that open to, okay, I know that only divine love, light, and truth is going to come through. Now I'm open to the expansion to come in. So then I can get that download to come in for me and to gain the perspective that they're desiring to show me. So I don't know if that kind of gives a little bit of a roundabout, but that's how I start. And the best way that I like to start tuning in is grounding my energy. I like to sit on the floor, my butt bones grounded to the earth. And I just see that my root chakra is just pouring into Mother Earth energy and really grounding me and securing me so that I feel really good when I'm going up in the higher dimensions. I know when people first start traveling up to the higher dimensions, they feel like, ooh, like kind of like in their head because it can feel like that. But when you're really grounded, it won't feel like that. So
interesting. And so did you have this gift as a child or did this come later in life?
I did. So when I was 11, my grandmother passed. Whew, I don't know if I've ever told this story without like feeling the emotions. I just feel this energy so dear. So this was in 2003. Wow, that's like almost 10 years or 20 years ago next year. Wow, that's crazy. So when I was a child, when I was 11, I lost my grandmother and she died very young, 54, I believe. And my mother and I, we were sitting on her bed, we were crying and, releasing emotions and grieving her loss. And I think it was about 2 days after she passed. And I just, all of a sudden I was sitting there and I just stopped crying. Like we were like bawling, crying. Like, I mean, it was pretty immense. And I just literally stopped out of the blue. And my mom's like, looks at me like knew I saw something. And I'm just like staring and I'm like, she just said it's going to be okay. And so, yeah, it gets me. So I saw her sitting next to me and she was just radiant. I had never seen her in physical life look that happy. I mean, I can still see it. Her hair was just perfect. She was glowing. I could see her dress and she had on this just beautiful necklace and I could see her shoes and she was so happy. And she just was letting me know that everything was going to be okay. And she started connecting with my soul and I got all these downloads and I was telling my parents what she was saying. And they're like things that I would have never known at that age, like her favorite this and her favorite that and what she liked about this. And they're just like staring at me like, how does she know this? Like just coming through. And that was such a serene experience that was so expansive. And that was my first awakening to that. And I was just like, and still I hold that time so dear. And I've heard ever since then that that's why she passed, to give me this gift to heal my generations.
Oh, wow. You're giving me goosebumps and making me tear up now too.
Oh, it was such a beautiful experience. So that was that was my awakening to energy. And I didn't know that like for a long time that it would be part of my career. You know, I kind of was like went off as a child and, you know, doing all the things. And, but it's, now that I see, I was very sensitive to energy. I believe that's why I was sick all my life, because I was holding in everybody else's energy. I mean, now that I know that, and I've released it all from my inner child and working with her, and she's shown me the way, that's why I was sick, because I was pulling in all these emotions of other people and holding them and feeling like I had to be the healer of everyone. And now it's like, now I can shine in my light and people are able to hold energy for themselves, because I'm not taking in their energy and not taking in their illness or their, you know, their hurt trauma or whatever that may be. And so that was a very, very expansive time that started all of this. And then I've had awakenings where I passed to the other side and came back. And that was when I was 23. And I just saw a whole new perspective. And I passed on that side for a while. And then God brought me back. And I got to see my son there. And it was crazy because I saw him the age that he actually is now. And he's 5 now. And when I saw him on the divine realm, he was 4 or 5. And I was actually pregnant with him at the time, halfway through pregnancy, and I passed to the other side, and I wasn't on the physical realm anymore. But God had to take me there so I could see that something was bigger and more expansive. And it was so bright there, and it was so pure, and it was just beautiful. And I met my son there, and he's like, "Mommy, I need you here." And I had a big tragic hurt in my life at that time, and learned that I was going to be a single mom and going through a lot of emotions there and trying to figure everything out. And I just, that reignited my purpose, and it brought me to every single thing that I do here today.
Wow. Yeah, you've been giving me goosebumps for like 20 minutes. So I'm wondering, since you've dealt with this or had this gift for so long, did you ever feel like, or did anyone ever gaslight you, or did anyone ever tell you you were crazy or mentally ill? Did you ever go through that?
I have. And I feel that I wouldn't say anybody said that I was crazy or that it was like a mental illness or anything like that. But I've been gaslighted a lot with religion. And that's something that's came up I get all the time, you know, as we kind of even conversed about this before this session of, well, is this through God? Is this through, you know, whatever? And it's like, I just see this pure source energy, and whatever you decide to, you know, conform this energy to, whether it's, you know, you call the source Jesus or God or divine creator, whatever it is, it's like, the love that divine energy has for us is so, so pure. So that's more than anything. Is I've had a lot of energies doubting where I'm getting source, but they're all the people that don't work with me. So they actually haven't had the firsthand experience. So I have got a lot of that. I mean, I will say, being an energetic worker, a healer, that it has been challenging at times. It has been, and I've talked to so many healers that feel the same way. And this is why a lot of them feel like they want to quit, or how do I carry forward, or what do I do? Because it feels so jarring when you know it's pure in your heart. You know that your intent through it is all love and light. But then you have these other energies that are doubting, and it's like, but they haven't had that firsthand experience. So I have had this happen, and I energetically release this. And I know that all of those energies that are coming in for me are only for my higher best self, to speak more in my truth, speak more out of my heart. And also just seeing what kind of reflection is that? How is that person feeling about themselves? And then just releasing that energy and not taking it so harshly within yourself. And I always see everything as an opportunity. So every single time that that's came in for me, and that's felt like a trigger or anything has been brought to my attention in that way, I just think of, okay, thank you so much for this opportunity to grow further. But yeah, there's been times that I've been totally gaslighted and kind of felt this like held back energy. And it's made me feel how do I carry forward? And I know a lot of this actually came up for me a ton, and it's happening in this life because I had to heal it in past lives. I mean, I had a really traumatic thing happen in a past life where someone from a religion told me that I wasn't pure in a past life, and they punctured my ears, and they put like a really sharp object through my ear, through going through my throat and into my collarbone in my past life, because I was a healer, and they didn't think that I did it by the book of how they thought it should look like. And so I was wounded as a healer. And so that came in for this lifetime, that I could heal that energy and go back to that past life trauma and really delve into that and heal that. So I am thankful for those energetics that, brought me to that opportunity to heal even deeper, even though at the moment I felt like it was on the surface and I was being gaslighted, and why do people not believe me, or, whatever that might have felt like. But then it just felt, once I was able to go in deeper, I'm like, oh, thank you. This was such a beautiful opportunity.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I think that's true for all triggers. Like
Yep.
if you're being triggered, there's something unhealed. You have to go figure it out. And like you said, it could be from another lifetime. It could be from a parent, from a grandparent. And your technique is really great at being able to go back and figuring out where that all originated so that you can erase those emotions and that stress on the nervous system and imprint that it had on you or past generations, so that you're no longer carrying it.
Yeah. And it's never too late to go forward. I mean, that's just something that's divinely coming up to me, is just to say it's never too late to go forward. I've even heard people say like, why would I start now? Like, I can't heal all generations. And I'm like, yeah, that's bullshit. I mean, I could just call that out, and that would be the ego speaking and saying, no, you can heal anything. You can heal anything that you choose. I mean, I have seen immense things be healed. Just giving this really cool alignment that I just firsthand experienced the divine creator's instantaneous healing the other day. I really would love to share this. It's incredible. I had this abscess in my gums on like my top right tooth, and it was so painful. It was literally just radiating. It hurt so bad. It was super painful. And I went up to the divine creator, and I never knew that this was possible to get an instantaneous healing. I never knew what that actually looked like. And I went up to the divine creator and commanded that I be instantly healed from this abscess in my gums. It was making me like sick, and because it hurt so bad. And instantly I set that intention. I downloaded that divine healing, and it was instantly healed.
Wow.
So I still had to go on the physical realm. Like, I did that healing on a Monday, and I didn't get to go in until I didn't get to go into the dentist or the endodontics until Thursday. So, but I saved, 4 days of pain till I could actually get into the dentist to relieve the abscess in my gums. And it was so powerful. I was just like, goes to show, how powerful divine is. It's like, I couldn't even sit because it was so painful. I was like rocking back and forth, and it was just like making me nauseous. And then instantly go up to divine, and, he just touched that energy and healed. And I was just like, okay, that's an instantaneous healing. And I got to first-handedly experience that. And I was just in tears and just felt so grateful for that experience with him.
Wow. I wish we all had the power to do that. And I know you're going to say you do have the power to do that.
You can read my mind.
Yeah. If we could all get to a point where we've, gotten to where you're at, I think the world would be just such a magical place. Could you imagine?
I can't imagine it because I see it. And every day when I set my intentions in the morning, I lift up 40,000 people. I don't know who they are, but they're here to be in the light with me. And we're all rising together. So once those 40,000 people are doing, lifting up their 40,000 people, then we're all illuminating. And I already feel this shifting in actually taking action in this moment. So, as I'm holding everybody that's listening to this and, finding their light, and all of us have this within us. So I just know that anything is possible within yourself. Anything's possible to heal in my eyes. And I say, heal with quotes, because anything is ready to be flourished when you decide.
Agreed. So before I wrap things up, one of the questions I've been asking everyone is, what is your biggest lesson in life, your biggest lesson in business? And then what is your biggest win in life and win in business?
Oh my gosh, Amanda, I have to write this down. Okay. Can you ask me the first one?
Yeah, sorry. What is your biggest win what is your biggest lesson in life?
Okay, so my biggest lesson, not following my intuition, not knowing, not following what my gut knows and going against that, and always letting my self-limiting beliefs speak first and keep me from my highest best. So that would probably be it.
Perfect. And then what is your biggest win at life?
Celebration. Honestly, celebrating, like just celebrating everything, celebrating the richness of life, celebrating everything that we've already done, celebrating the challenging days that we made it through. That has been my biggest win, and also probably my biggest lesson. I was not ever celebrating anything I did. I never thought anything was ever good enough that I did. I didn't heal enough. I didn't do enough. I wasn't enough. I wasn't healthy enough. And that was only attracting a lower vibration. So the second that I said, holy crap, look at how much I've already done, let me celebrate that, and then I'm going to continue in my greatness, that literally moved a million mountains for me. Like that was it. And so every day I dance, I celebrate, I congratulate my body, I congratulate, everyone around me, all the frequencies, divine. I just make life a freaking celebration.
Yeah, that's beautiful. You have to.
Yeah.
And then my other question is regarding business is, what is your biggest lesson in business?
Taking something not in alignment, which comes back to really what I said first, is doing something out of my gut, always making sure I'm in alignment for my client's highest best. I know sometimes we can get in the form of like being nervous if we don't have enough abundance to support our family or to have a house. And I have let all of that go. I don't let any of that rule me, because I know that divine will always provide for me if I'm living in my soul purpose always. So that's been like my biggest lesson, is trusting. And I started my business in March of 2020. And that was when COVID happened. And I was like, I honestly have nothing else other than to just trust myself and live with my soul and radiate my purpose. And trusting that was the best thing that I could have done. So listening to my true alignment, every time I listen to my mind up top, a negative thought or an ego or what would someone else think, I have quickly declined in my business. And every time I vibrate the frequency out of my heart and what is my soul desire and what does my inner child really thrive off of, I excel. So that's been my biggest learning lesson, I think.
Yeah, and I think you answered the second part, your biggest win.
Yeah, that was like a win and like an all in one. So yeah, that was very interconnected. It's just, listening to intuition. And once you listen to your intuition, you create the perfect abundance for your career, for your family, for yourself, and you're fulfilled.
Awesome. All right. Well, I am so happy that you were able to join me today. I'm so happy that I get to know you. I feel like you're such an incredible human. So let everyone know where they can find you.
Yeah. So I still haven't updated my website with all my new soul stuff, but it is on my Linktree and my Instagram. And my handler is at Revive Karli. So REVIBE _ Karli, KARLI. So that is my handler and my Revive. And that's where you can find my link tree, where you can sign up for the Revive Collective or inquire about anything else, and where you can just follow this mission and this celebration.
Awesome. All right, Karli, thank you so much again for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Amanda. You're seriously such a blessing and such a light in this energetic place. And I just feel so thankful to know you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. EMFs, electrosmog, and geopathic stress are an increasing problem in today's world. As someone who lives in a major city, one of the ways that I help lessen this kind of stress on my body is with a Somatic. Somatic is designed on the principles of controlled release of energy from precious and semi-precious stones and metals such as platinum, palladium, gold, and silver. This creates a coherent field more than 2,800 square feet. It's an Eastern approach to wellness combined with Western frequency therapy technology, and this puts Somatic in a very unique device category all on its own. It helps with mitigating negative effects of EMF, radiation, including 4G, 5G, Wi-Fi, geopathic stress, Curie and Hartman lines, oxidative stress, and free radicals. Somatic also structures water and changes it into mountain quality spring water that is natural to our bodies and cells. It can structure and harmonize any tap water or bottled water. It provides water in its most natural state, just like nature intended. And you can harness the benefit just by placing your water jug next to Somatic. You can check out somatic.com, and for 10% off, you can use my code PANACEA, PANACEA.